Good morning, Grizzlies. So, we finished the book of Al Capone Shines My Shoes. So, I wanted to give you a little idea of what the next book in the series is like so that if you're looking for something to read this summer, perhaps you would consider this book. So, it's called Al Capone Does My Homework. So, here's the first chapter. The Warden's Son. Sunday, January 19th, 1936. Today is my dad's first official day as associate warden on Alcatraz Island, home to anyone who is anyone in the criminal world. On our island, we have world famous robbers, thieves, swindlers, sharpshooters, second story burglars, mad dog murderers, plus a whole lot of ordinary criminals. Vicious, but not well known. No one ever believes I live on Alcatraz. Even my 8th grade history teacher made me write on the chalkboard, "I do not live on Alcatraz," 200 times. She didn't even apologize when she found out I wasn't lying. My mother couldn't buy stockings at O'Connor and Moffat's. They wouldn't take her check on account it said Helen Flanagan, Alcatraz Island, California. My father had trouble getting his driver's license. They thought he was an escaped prisoner too stupid to fake his address, instead of an officer at the most notorious prison in North America. My friend Annie was kicked out of Sunday school for saying she lived on Alcatraz. They sent her to confession. She confessed she didn't live on Alcatraz, and the next day she confessed she'd lied in confession. Of course, Piper, the warden's daughter, never gets in trouble for anything. Nothing sticks to her. She's as slippery as a bar of soap. I'm betting a guard like Darby Trixel, also known as Double Tough, doesn't have these kinds of problems either. Darby was born in a uniform, one size too tight. My dad, on the other hand, looks like a middle-aged dance instructor. You'd never expect him to carry a firearm. An accordion, maybe, but not a rifle. Not that there are firearms everywhere on Alcatraz, only up in the guard towers and the catwalks. At any given moment, you are in the crosshairs down at the dock, but not up on the parade grounds. My dad may not look the part, but as of today, he's the number 2 guy on the island. Piper lords it over all the kids that she's the warden's daughter, but now I'm the warden's son. Okay, the associate warden, but still. In the kitchen, Dixieland band music is playing on the radio, and my father is dressed in his crisp blue uniform. My mom is patiently trying to brush my 16-year-old sister Natalie's hair, which she really hates. From a distance, Nat seems normal, but when you get close, you start to notice things are a bit off. She rocks from side to side. She drags her chin along her chest. She won't ever look in your eyes, and sometimes stares straight at your privates. My dad says Natalie views the world through her own personal kaleidoscope, and it's our job to see from her perspective. That sounds good until she's counting every hairpin in the bathroom when my bladder is about to explode. Or she's lying flat on the ground in the middle of the train station when the cutest girl in school walks by. Today, Mom and Nat are waiting for Mrs. Kelly to arrive. Mrs. Kelly is the teacher who helps her learn the social graces. "You nervous?" I ask my father as he sits on the edge of his bed, giving his shoes a last buff. His face is newly shaved, his skin smells of soap, and his shoes are as shiny as good silver spoons, but he still keeps shining them. "He's fine," my mother calls. My father smiles as he slips his stocking feet into his shoes. "See, I'm fine," he says, smoothing down his hair and placing his officer's cap squarely on his head. "You're nervous," I say. "Could be," he answers. "You want one of Nat's buttons?" "For luck?" Natalie collects buttons. She loves them the way I love baseball. "Think she could spare one?" I head back to the kitchen. "Nat, Dad needs a button. Can you let him have one?" Nat's head is down, inches from her plate, her eyes focused on chasing the slippery whites of her egg. My mother glares at me. I just got her to sit down for breakfast. Nat wiggles out of her chair and heads into the living room. A minute later, she comes back with her hand tightly closed. She walks up to my dad, who is gulping the last of his coffee, and opens her fist to reveal one flat, 4-hole button. My father beams at her. "That's a beaut, sweet pea," he says, sliding it into his pocket. 97, Nat says. "I'll take good care of 97, you betcha. Guess I'm all set now except for one thing." He gives my mother an embarrassingly long kiss. My mom smiles. "Good luck," she says. I follow him outside. He grins at me. "Where do you think you're going? Think I can't handle the job on my own, do you?" "Of course you can handle it," I say, though I am worried. My dad is too nice to be a warden. I watch as he walks across the connecting balconies and turns the corner to the stairs. A minute later, he's down below, where 8 cons are sweeping the dock. Darby Trixel's got his eye on them, barking orders through his bullhorn. He loves that bullhorn, sleeps with it under his pillow, probably takes it to the bathroom with him too. I can just hear him. Bowel movement approaching. I follow along after my dad down the stairs. Not close enough for him to notice. I don't want him to send me back home. Good morning, Darby. My father walks over for a chat. Darby sucks his belly in and pokes his chest out. Good morning, boss, he says. Will Darby be nice to me now that my dad is his boss? Probably not. My dad looks at all the prisoners as he talks to Darby. I know the names of some. There's number 227, Lizard, a big woolly mammoth of a guy with a puffy face and spindly legs. Annie says he ate a lizard in the rec yard once. That's how he got his name. There's number 300, Count Lustig, a world-famous con man. And there's number 141, Indiana, who has no chin and no eyebrows. Indiana waves at me when Darby isn't looking, but having a chinless, eyebrowless felon wave at you is not fun, believe me. I'm not the only guy watching all of this either. Donnie Cocconi is on the 64 building phone, but his eyes are tracking the cons. Donnie is the grown son of Mrs. Cocconi, the lady who knocks on your door if the phone is for you. Since she weighs more than a river barge and there are a lot of steps in 64 building, this is impressive. Mrs. Cocconi's husband used to be a guard here, but he got transferred and she didn't go with him. Nobody knows why. Donnie is tall, thin, and graceful as a girl, the opposite of his mother, and he dresses snappy like he has loads of girlfriends. He nods his head at me as if I'm his long-lost friend. Donnie is everybody's long-lost friend. We all really like him. Dad finishes his conversation and heads up the switchback. Then I see Count Lustig motion to Darby. Darby rolls his eyes at the Count but walks his way. With Darby's back turned, Indiana spits on the dock behind my father. Lizard and another con with red hair laugh. My father glances back at them, his brow furrowed. He knows something happened, but he's not sure what. He's too far up the road to do anything, but I'm not. A little voice in my head tells me this is not my business and I should stay out of it. But that little voice doesn't understand how I'm the warden's son now, and I have to start acting like it. My feet step over the white painted line that we're not supposed to cross when the cons are down here. Don't do that, I tell Indiana in my most threatening voice, but I'm so nervous it comes out wibbly-wobbly. Indiana looks at me with his chinless, eyebrowless face. Lizard cocks his head toward Indiana as if to say, take a look at that kid. Darby half walks, half runs toward me, his tight blue officer's jacket bristling. Get out of here. He waves me back in short, angry motions. He spit at my father, I say. But when I look at Indiana, his face is perfectly blank, like he doesn't speak our language. Your father needs his kid to take care of him? Trixel barks. He didn't see it. I did. Trixel shakes his head, then waggles his finger at me. I don't care what you see. You stay out of the dock area when the cons are down here, because I sure as heck don't need your help. My arms are shaking and my legs feel like tapioca pudding. I retreat back across the line as fast as my shaky legs will take me.